Sub-weapons are definitely one of the most essential tools for any main weapon, and whether or not you're new to Splatoon, I want to give you some quick tips for some of the most aggressive subs in the game, being Splat Bomb, Burst Bomb, Fizzy Bomb, Curling Bomb, Autobomb, Torpedo, and Splash Wall. Since it was requested after my special power-up video, I'll also briefly explain the effects of sub power-up for all of them, and we'll definitely make a part 2 for the rest of the subs, so be sure to subscribe to not miss it, and with that being said, let's get into it. Splat Bomb is definitely the most iconic sub in the series that's been featured in other games like Smash Ultimate. You throw it and it explodes moments later after it touches the ground. It's been one of the most reliable tools for longer distance pressure and poking in order to move people that shorter range weapons like Junior and Inkbrush benefit a lot from, and its reliable 30 damage combo to secure a quick kill, which is excellent for Slosher. You can also use a Splat Bomb to bait players that are rushing you down, but be careful since this isn't always guaranteed to save you. Also, sometimes you'll want to roll it on the ground rather than throwing it in the air. It'll explode much faster and is more reliable for taking people out that don't react fast enough, any slower weapons like Dynamo and Explosher, or punishing any bad super jumps you see. Sub power-up increases the throwing speed and range of the bomb itself, and that's about it. All in all, a very simple sub. Going over to Burst Bomb, it's a sub that explodes on impact once it touches any surface or player, and is cheaper than every bomb in the game, allowing you to throw 2 in a row without the need of any additional gear abilities. With your opponent not wearing any sub resistance, 2 direct burst bombs will always take them out, and just like Splat Bombs, is excellent for longer range poking and damage combos with your main weapon for some faster kills. It's also a great mobility tool for going up walls or quickly painting your feet in case you want to approach a fight or retreat from one that you clearly can't win. Splash is one of the best main weapons in the game right now, mostly due to the added mobility and combos Burst Bomb gives to it, and for the Splatana Stamper, it has amazing synergy with its charged up slashes. Just like Splat Bomb, sub power up increases the throwing speed and range. Next up, we have what is considered by some to be the best sub weapon in the game, which is Fizzy Bomb. This bomb has 3 different types of ways it can explode depending on how much you shake it while holding the sub button. You can simply throw it for 1 smaller explosion, hold it a bit longer for 2 explosions, or charge it up all the way for 3 explosions, and if all 3 connect, then it's a guaranteed kill. You can also kill with only 2 explosions, but it's much harder to pull off. One of the most unique things about this bomb is that you can manipulate how fast it charges by either moving your character back and forth in opposite directions, jumping, or moving the camera, but most people tend to just move their character and jump, so their aim stays still the entire time they're using it. This sub also leaves a trail of ink, giving you extra mobility for either rushing in or as an escape option, and combos extremely well to secure fast picks, most notably on Sloshing Machine. These two have so much synergy that it was considered to be meta at one point in Splatoon 2's history, despite still having Splashdown, one of the worst specials to use competitively throughout most of the game's lifespan. This sub is also well known to be paired up with a main ability called Last Ditch Effort, or LDE for short. LDE gives you up to 8 subs of Ink Saver main, Ink Saver sub, and Ink Recovery up, which activates in Turf War during the last 30 seconds, and in any ranked mode if the opposing team scores past 50. This ability in its current state is pretty broken, allowing you to throw 2 Fizzy Bombs with a full ink tank and apply pressure and paint much more efficiently throughout a match. Just like the last 2 subs, sub power-up only increases the throwing speed and range. Moving on to Torpedo, once it's thrown in the air, it's a projectile that automatically tracks someone, hitting them directly for 60 damage and produces droplets that deal 12 damage each after it hits the ground. While this does offer a decent amount of paint, keep in mind that it won't follow your target directly and will stay locked on where it initially travels. It can also be shot down once it starts targeting someone, but despite these weaknesses, Torpedo has mostly strived on its amazing damage combo after you roll it on the ground instead of throwing it. In Splatoon 2, the Kenza Rapid Blaster, also known as Crapid, was known for its amazing synergy with this sub-weapon, and in Splatoon 3 is still a nice combo tool for the Splatana Wiper and Gootuber. It also has a fairly large indirect blast radius for 35 damage, is great for locating people that may be hiding or sharking, and is useful for giving people a distraction that they need to deal with while you approach and finish them off. And sub power-up, who would have seen this coming, increases their throwing speed and range. Going over to Curling Bomb, it's a sub that travels along the ground for a period of time before exploding, and is the only sub that comes with an adorable throwing pose. The longer you hold down the sub button, the less distance the bomb will travel, but in turn provides a bigger explosion at the end. While the bomb can give you decent paint for your special and is always lethal, which helps for getting picks at alternate angles after bouncing off of surfaces, it mostly strives off of mobility, since the bomb leaves an ink trail for you to close the gap between you and your opponents. You can also quickly rotate across the map to contest certain areas or assist your team, and as an escape option out of really bad situations, which is perfect for Splat Roller's playstyle and is one of the best main weapons with this sub. Sub power-up, believe it or not, increases the range the bomb travels at, and hopefully now you guys can see why I didn't make a video of the effects of this ability. It does the same exact thing for a lot of these. For Splash Wall and Autobomb, while these aren't always used for straight up killing people, they can still be used to set you up for aggressive plays. When thrown, Splash Wall gives you a limited wall of ink that can protect you from direct shots and bombs, and also has an ink tank in the sensor that lets you know when it's about to run out. You can only use one at a time, since deploying a second one will immediately destroy the first one, and try to be careful since it has a lot of vulnerability while being thrown that weapons like chargers can take advantage of. One way to counter this though is by throwing your wall behind cover and against any surface so you can set it up without ever exposing yourself. Also, any one-shot explosions like bombs or rainmaker shots can still take you out if you're on the side they're being blown up from, and weapons that rely on fall off like sloshers can hit you over the wall if you're not careful, but you can stay inside your wall to protect yourself from this. Obviously, this is a sub weapon that is amazing at defense and keeping you and your teammates alive, but weapons like the .52 gal have benefited from using it more aggressively in Splatoon 2 and 3, making it one of the best weapons in the game at the end of Splatoon 2's lifespan. By aggressive though, I don't mean that it's able to combo for an easier kill like most bombs, but rather it helps you contest and take space without needing to worry about staying alive, which other slayers can struggle with. This, along with Booyah Bomb, is what made K-Gal so strong at the end of Splatoon 2, since it had the perfect kit to make it extremely hard to fight. With sub power-up, it increases the durability of the wall itself before it can be taken out, and has no effect on the throwing range. Finally. And lastly, for Autobomb, it's a little robot that follows any nearby players and explodes when it gets close enough or after following them for some time, and if it doesn't track anybody, it'll just explode immediately. Unlike most bombs, this isn't the best combo tool, since it usually moves on its own rather than where you want it to, and can take even longer to explode than suction bombs, but it still has its benefits. In most scenarios, this is definitely a more supportive sub, but right now slayers like Tetras aren't held back too much by having it. It's a displacement tool that can momentarily allow you to take space while your opponent is forced to move away from it, and since it automatically tracks people, it can help locate any players hiding or sharking in the ink. Weapons like V-Blaster work nicely with it, and while it's not the best bomb competitively, taking advantage of its ability to track down players can definitely have some situational uses. And oh my gosh, did you know that sub power-up increases the throwing speed and range of the sub? And there you go, I covered about half of the subs in Splatoon 3 right now, and if you have any additional tips, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in part 2. Peace.